and you bring it to the light of not only the person that you trust the most, but also God is hearing you say this as well. Now he knows you've openly, publicly admitted that you're doing this.
Sydney would say how I curse is my voice gets really high.
I was actually pleasantly surprised how it worked, and then as I was growing in my Christianity, I reflected back on it going, that really does work from a Christian standpoint.
All right, so I'm here with Denise Ottman. We're going to be talking about our series, Unoffendable. We're in week 3, and it's been a fun series, hasn't it?
It's been a great series.
Yeah. But just give me a little intro, or give the people a little intro of who you are, just a little background on what you like to do.
Denise Ottman. I'm married to Rick. Most of you know Rick. I like to really spend time with my husband first and foremost, so we do.
He is pretty great.
He is a pretty great guy. Don't let him hear this.
Yeah.
We are building an addition on our house. We like to boat. We like to fish. We like to hunt.
Corvettes, Harleys,
Yes,
all the things.
All the fun stuff. We work hard. We play hard.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about like this series. Like this last week was kind of like, I would say it's kind of the peak of the message series where it's talking about like what does it look like to actually not be offended at times, and I'm still figuring out how to do that personally. I don't know. Are you? Oh yeah. So it's a journey, but so we're gonna dive into that in a bit. But I thought we'd start with just kind of one of the things that I referenced in the message was when someone says bless their heart, bless her heart, bless his heart. It's basically a way of saying they're an idiot. For you, like, is there something that it's hard to not say that to? You know, like when it comes to mind, you see this person doing this thing, you're like, bless their heart.
People that talk about health issues with me, and they have the cure for what to do, and I can tell they have done no research on it. Sure. And because I do a lot of holistic things, I guess I have a different perspective on how to treat our bodies.
Yeah. Well, and that's like what's so tough, like, is information is so readily to us these days, where I saw one reel and I decided to change my diet because of this reel, you know, like, and it's like, have you done the research on that of why, or, you know, really dug into it?
Yep.
Yeah. Bless their heart for watching reels, or bless their heart for...
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm at the spot like now where I gotta be cautious in saying this, but like I, as a parent now of 3, I remember when I used to like not have children and think like, I'm so slammed. So like when people say that to me, I'm like, bless your heart. It is so hard.
You have no idea how much free time you really have.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. But anyways, awesome. One other like little fun one. Do you have a favorite candy? Like, we had Sour Patch Kids on Sunday. They're sour and sweet, but
they're still in my purse. I do like those. Those are one of my favorites, but not, I would say my one addiction, and I can say it's addiction because I have to count out how many pieces I'm allowed to have, and then I give the bag to Rick to hide, is black licorice or black jelly beans.
Oh, okay.
I'll eat the bag until I'm sick.
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh.
He's got a little cubby in our office somewhere. I don't know where it is, but he hides it in there, so I can't ever get to them until 24 hours is up.
Yeah, my mother is also into those, and she will pull them out, and no one else eats them ever.
I'm gonna be seeing your mom.
So yeah, if you want to spend some time with my mom,
I will do
bring
that.
some black licorice jelly beans or something like that. Awesome. All right, so part of the message we talked a little bit about cursing and blessings, right? So cursing others or blessing others. And kind of how we do both, like a Sour Patch Kid, you're sour at times, or sometimes we're this amazing blessing. But for you, like, is it hard to not curse for you at times? Like, and one of the examples I shared was from Dallas Willard of how, like, it could even be an eyeball roll, it could be your body language, it could be just a hesitation and a comment back, like. For you, how do you deal with that ever? And if so, how do you combat that? Like,
I do deal with that.
Yeah.
It's my face.
Oh.
my face usually says it all.
Okay.
It just happened on Saturday.
Okay.
The way that I combat it is I go to Rick privately, just the two of us,
Yeah.
and then I tell him what I did. Because I think once you acknowledge what you've done wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring it to the light of not only the person that you trust the most, but also God is hearing you say this
Yeah.
as well. Now he knows you've openly, publicly admitted that you're doing this. I think it makes it easier to recognize the next time to not do it.
Okay.
And then I always spend time with God afterward praying that I don't do it again.
So would you say it's your face as in like you stop smiling, like you notice that, or you're like seeing other people's reactions?
No, it's me. Like I'll hear something, like I'll use Saturday as an example. When I heard her say what she said, I'm like, really, did you just say that?
Yeah.
Like
and your face changes and you're like, oh, I felt that.
Yeah, and I'm like ready to say something, and I've gotten to the point now I don't respond back, but my face still is getting ready to.
Yeah.
So it's recognizing not to do that.
That's good. That's good. And I love the idea of like having your spouse be kind of this, you know, second person, or this thing that you can go to for help and accountability in it. I would say Sydney and I are very open with each other, where it's like, I'm feeling this, or I noticed that I'm doing this, or I wanted to respond, like, are you feeling that way too? Or, you know, and it's like kind of giving you someone that's this, so to speak, third party kind of coming in of like grounding you, you know, to balance you. And I think that's super helpful. I would be lost without Sydney, like without like kind of the conversations we have about life, how to handle certain situations. So it's like to have that person, I bet you.
I absolutely agree. I feel the same way with Rick, that you have to have that accountability. If you don't have accountability, it's really easy to keep doing your bad habits, because we all have them.
Yeah. The one that I've been working on of trying not to curse through is my body language. It's really easy for me to kind of cross my arms and like show that I'm not wanting to be there, you know, or to be a part of the conversation anymore, or like, oh, this isn't my thing, you know, like so it's like being really cautious of that. Sydney would say how I curse is my voice gets really high, like when I'm like not really being as honest or as truthful as I need to be. She'd be like, oh, I noticed your voice got a little higher there.
Oh, that's good to know. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm just telling everybody now.
That will be cut out of this.
Exactly. So now everybody knows. But so those are some of the things that I know, and that I can like pause and make sure that I'm not, you know, giving that cursing back. So awesome. We talked about the story in the Bible of like where this king forgave 10,000 talents, which was like the equivalent of like 17 million, you know, roughly, right? And then how that person who received that forgiveness of 17 million was demanding $17, right? You know, like from his fellow servant after being forgiven 17 million. Just for fun, I thought we'd just start with this. Like, if someone gave you 17 million, like, do you have like something you would do with it? Like, what comes to mind?
17 million blessings.
$17 million.
Dollars.
$17 million right now. What are we doing?
Well, I don't like to spend money, so I have a problem right there.
I love it, but it's boring. Okay.
I know. I feel bad. I would put most of it in the bank, but I would give a lot to Rick because he would probably have fun spending it.
Oh.
Like Rick likes to buy things and then, you know, celebrate it with the rest of the world, and I don't mean the world, I mean like our people.
Yeah.
Like our boat, like wasn't really bought for us. Like when he bought it, it was like, well, how do we get to enjoy that with other people? How do we make other people happy? So everything we do, I would probably have to have him help me spend it because I would struggle with that.
That's awesome.
I don't know about that.
I would like to say that I would save it all, but I don't think I would. It's one of those hard balances of like, I got 17 million, but then to really be focused on like, okay, how can I bless others through this is like something I think is a really important question that I'm sure people who win the lottery or win, you know, where it's like thinking of like, how can I use what I've been blessed with kind of luckily per se in this situation for others. And I think that goes really well into our next question, like, because it's like God's given us this blessing of like forgiveness, like 17 million worth of, you know, forgiveness per se, was what the example is all about. God's forgiven us so much, yet we can be offended by so little, right? And that was like what the whole parable is meant to show. But like, now knowing how much you've kind of offended God and have been forgiven like this great amount, does it impact how you are when you offend others, or when others offend you, and then your forgiveness to them? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
I think so. You know, for me, I can give forgiveness pretty easily. I've been gifted with that.
Sure.
I really feel it's a gift. I think for me, I have a harder time getting over the hurt feeling that I have that's associated with the forgiveness. So although I will say you're forgiven, and I mean it, it usually takes me a day or two longer to actually like not be hurt anymore by the action or the words. Yeah,
I think that's like the hardest part for me too. Is like I can say the words forgiveness, you know, I forgive you, I know I should, but I still like, if I like see that person, or, you know, or like I feel it still, like the memory still, so it's really hard to like almost like forget it, you know, or like move on from it. And I think that is part of forgiveness, right? It's not just saying like the words, I forgive you, and then, but in my mind I still hate you, you know, right? That's not totally correct. I think it's this tension that we have to live in of where if God's forgiven me, I've been blessed immensely, I need to use this blessing and forgive you and some of these lesser things. And sure, there's times where we learn, I think, like, I'm not gonna let that person do that again to me, you know, like there are some things we learn in that process, but to give forgiveness and seeing the example of what God's done for us, it reminds me of like, if I want God to forgive my offenses to him and move on from them, I should be doing that to others too. And Absolutely. So that just that mindset, I think, helps me, you know, helps me maybe forgive others more and keeping on that mindset. But it's hard.
I think, you know, you're a lot younger than me, like a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was a time like in my early 20s where I wouldn't give forgiveness. And it was really easy for me to hold a grudge and go on with life. But honestly, it hurts us more than it hurts the other person. And I think in just growing, I think that's what makes it so easy for me to just give forgiveness very easily. Because, and I'll do it very quickly. I mean, it happened with a friend of mine where she said some really awful words to me, and she sent me a card for my birthday asking for forgiveness. And I didn't have time to make a phone call to her. But I wasn't going to make her wait for her forgiveness either. I texted her and I said, I just want you to know that I'm super busy this weekend with the kids and Rick, but I want you to know that I received your package in the mail. I appreciate it, and you are forgiven, but please let's talk soon. Like, I don't want it being dismissed either. I want to move on with a relationship with her. So we did talk, but it was after you give forgiveness, then you have to mend that hurt as well. There's a process that goes with it. It's, if you want that person back in your life, then it's how do we move forward from there.
I like that, because just the words, sometimes it keeps almost the stalemate between the two of you.
You have to push past that.
And to get past that is the actual like freeing, you know, we're back to rebuilding it, almost rebuilding the relationship.
That's very important to the forgiveness, I think.
Awesome. All right, one of the things, like the big part of the message was a person can't make you offended, it's a choice. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree with that. I think being offended is an emotional response. I don't think that we can stop our emotional responses, because I think some of those are innate on how we were raised, things that have happened in our lives. So I don't think we can change that emotion in us. But I think we can change the way we react to that emotion. And being offended is a choice.
And I think like what I was trying to really build up in this whole series is, it's like we started with like, you're not as right as you think, you're wrong a lot. And so now knowing all of this, like it should be a little easier to not respond with offense. But yes, we are going to be like, I don't like this, but then choosing like, you know, I'm wrong a lot. I don't have it all figured out. You know, this person might be going through the exact same thing right now, and maybe they blatantly are not showing that at all, but I'm still going to choose not to be offended by this because I know there's a gazillion other reasons why maybe they're going through this, or when it all comes down to it, I'm going to be the Christ-like person and take this as a sacrifice, as in like I'm going to forgive, or I'm going to not let this be a harsh, hard thing for me.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. For God even, right?
That's what I mean by team. Yeah, take one for the team. Yeah. You're doing it for a bigger purpose than yourself.
Yeah, I like that. All right, how about this one? How do you remind yourself of your blessings from God? Like, do you feel you've been blessed a lot by God?
I have, even in my darkest struggles that I have had in life. I would say that I feel incredibly blessed. I feel like the things that have happened to me in my life when I was younger were things that He allowed to happen to have me help others. I think that's how I got to Curious. So when I can't remember, if I get stuck, and we all get stuck on forgetting what our blessings are, you just have to look around and watch the news. Bare minimum, watch the news, and how can you not feel blessed?
Yeah, like you heard some of like mine of like how I remind myself of the blessings. It's like I listen to a song maybe that kind of sparks it in me, a scripture. It could be even like just pictures, like having a slideshow where it's like I just revisit like wow, like life goes by really fast actually. You know, I got a almost 4-year-old. You know, I feel like I just started having kids. You know, but it's like oh, that was so cute then. You know, and it's like I went through that with her. That was a blessing. You know, and you start to see all of these events, but like it's so easy to miss and just be like, I got a 4-year-old and a crying baby at home and all that, you know, like, and just only see the negative. But it's like, if you can start seeing and purposely, like you said, kind of, whether it's the news or wherever, but like intentionally looking for the blessings, that you start to see a lot.
Yep, you do.
All right. For fun, like I shared the song, Counting My Blessings, and I shared how I thought the lyrics were something else that they weren't, you know, like, have you ever butchered the lyrics to this song? What kind of music do you listen to? What's your jam?
Most of the stuff I listen to is Christian. I listen to the Message most of the time. But I'm a country girl at heart. But I still like, you know, I'm still stuck in the 70s and 80s. I graduated in 84, so I'm not that old. But we still listen to a lot of that kind of music. So the one that kind of made me chuckle when you said that, and it came instantly to my mind, was Benny and the Jets. Okay. Do you know that song? Yeah. Electric Boots? Yeah, that is not what I thought they said. I think I went 2 decades thinking that's not what he said. So that always still makes me chuckle when I hear the song.
No, there's so many, I don't know if it's like 80s, but in general, like there are a lot of songs that I heard, I think, just growing up that I was like, yeah, that's what they're saying, like Jesse's Girl or whatever. Like, I had no idea that it was actually Jesse's Girl. I think I like made a word up in my mind, or you know, or like there's all kinds of like songs like that where it's just like you hear it and you made up the own lyrics and you just know it as that. Yeah, it happens. The one that like Sydney told me I should share in the Message, but I chose not to because it makes me sound kind of funny. But as a kid, I watched Lion King, right? You know,
every song.
You know,
all that. Every music in there is great.
Yeah, but the first song, like, and I didn't know what the words are. I still don't even know what the words are. But apparently, my parents said, I said, I'm from Pennsylvania, Mamma Mia. Or something like.
Why didn't you say that one?
I don't know. It's kind of silly, but yeah. So it's like so easy for us to like get words wrong, but in this situation with this message, it worked out in my favor. Where I said like I thought he said like I wrong all the time, and it fits with my perspective of things because I do wrong a lot of times, even though I still am blessed countless times. How about this one? Are you aware of your cursing or sourness? Like when you curse others or when you feel offended or curse personally, like is there a setting or a person or a mindset that tends to be like this reoccurring theme for you?
Yeah, it usually starts with some form of anxiety.
Okay. I
can feel it building before it happens usually.
Yeah. So it's just like this feeling of like, I'm worried or I'm stressing about this. So I'm guessing I'm probably not portraying the best of who I want to be for this person. Correct. Yeah. I like the way I do it is, and I'm not awesome at this, but this is one of the things that I've tried to grow in is kind of like that emotional intelligence aspect of things, where it's like I'm assessing what I do to others, you know, like, so it's like when I'm having a conversation, I'm reading this person, like, are they responding pleasantly or not? And like, so you're looking for body language, you're looking for facial expressions, you're looking for eye contact or lack of eye contact, or how they respond, like, you know, in their rhythm. And so all of that, it's like I've learned how to pick up on other people's like frustration per se, and it's not, I'm not perfect at it, but that has helped me, like, ooh, that person did not like this comment, you know, or that person is not feeling, you know, they're feeling kind of cursed from this, not as in we're just having a conversation or whatever. So to me, I would say that has been something that's really helped me in like the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, where I've been able to kind of emotionally assess, like, okay, where is this person at in this conversation? Are they gaining something? Do they see it as a blessing, or do they see it as a curse? And sometimes that reflection has really helped me. Is there a setting, person, mindset that is common? Usually when I don't want to talk about this particular topic, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, I have one person that just really triggers that for me. And boy, I don't see her very often, which is good, but when I do, and Saturday was one of them, it's really hard.
Yeah. And so it's like I talked about, having like kind of the mindset ahead of time, knowing like, all right, I gotta pause more, I gotta listen more, be slow, or whatever it is, to make sure you respond the way you want.
I just tried to talk a lot less.
Yeah.
Respond versus talking.
Yeah.
Which again is not good or healthy, because you're not having dialogue and not pushing through all the things I said earlier, where you have to have should have a relationship, but we're not there yet. Yeah.
But I think you and I are similar in the sense of like, maybe we're similar, maybe we're not, I don't know. But like, we both would rather like, let's talk about it now, let's get this done. And like, I know you really like that. Like, I like to, I'm like, I don't know if I want to, but I know I have to. And so it's like, how long am I going to drag this out where I don't address this? But like, kind of having that mindset, sometimes it's like, you know, I'm just going to be slow to speak right now. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to like force anybody to resolve anything, but I'm going to just be slow to speak and give it time. And I think for both of us, sometimes that's necessary, right? Where it's like, you need a little time and not push maybe our agenda on people. Because like, even in my relationship with Sydney, like Sydney would prefer to like I need a night, right? Or, you know, I need like some time. And I'm like, no, let's talk about this now. Let's just get this done with, because I want tomorrow to be good. You know, I don't want to talk about tomorrow. So
I want to get a good night's sleep tonight, so tomorrow will be great.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is the verse I have on my desk at work is like James, where it says like, be slow to speak, because it's like this reminder that I need personally, because I so often want to respond and correct and to have people start seeing my way, instead of like just listening. And what I had in the last conversation of this chat room with Keegan, like, he even talked about active listening. It's like, I want to be an active listener, not, hey, here's what I'm planning to say back. It's, okay, I'm hearing you, now I want to, now in response to that, here's my response, instead of like, I came for this agenda, you know. And so that's been really important for me, is to be slow to speak. So yeah, I think it's good.
I found too, like, when you have a difficult conversation, depending if it starts going sour during that conversation, I find myself repeating myself over, like with the calming words of, no, that's not how I feel.
Sure.
Like, if someone's trying to say, well, you're acting angry, I'm like, no, I'm not angry, I'm hurt. And just keep saying that over and over. If it gets to a point of being escalated, normally I'm like, okay, we need to just take a breather. Not saying I want you out of my life, but we need to just stop today, because we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I still love you, but today we're stopping.
Yeah. All right, last question. Let's talk about kind of the blessings aspect of things, because one of the things to not be so offended at times is sometimes to give blessings back freely. Like in the book, I think it's Unoffendable. No, it's this other one, the Truth About Us. He talks about like how he had this manager that was offended, that just didn't like him, you know, at a fitness center, or the guy that was like gym rat and just like lifted weights and grunted and has this music playing even though there's headphones, but he didn't want headphones or whatever it is. And it's like he decided to kind of give them blessings and pray for them, and it was really hard for him to pray for them and dislike them, right? And be offended by them, because it was like, I'm praying this blessing on the God. And so kind of that point came out of, it's like if we start blessing others and trying to give it freely, we can, you know, remove some of that offendability. So like, do you do that? Do you find yourself like giving blessings freely? Like what does that look like in your life? Huh?
I actually do. I did it the first time I did it, I'll be honest, I wasn't a Christian at the time, and I did it out of spite.
Yeah.
And it worked. I was actually pleasantly surprised how it worked, and then as I was growing in my Christianity, I reflected back on it going, that really does work from a Christian standpoint. Yeah. Granted, my heart wasn't where it was supposed to be, but now it is, and I do know that works. Yeah,
and it's a tough balance, because it's like you're doing it because you care about the person, or you want your heart to be in the right place, but sometimes you're doing it because I don't want to be offended by you. You know, I want a relationship to change. You know, and it's like I hope to kind of bless you in a way to maybe soften our relationship. So I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. This has been a fun conversation.
You're welcome.
I enjoy hearing and learning from you. So it's been good. Awesome. See ya.